homosexuality, if you a man lying with another man, you are committing an abomination according to God, man. That is an abomination. Something that God hates and he detests. Right, go ahead.
They shall surely be put to death.
And that's going to be the judgment of their recompense, man. They shall surely be put to death. Now, another thing that damn dyke said was that we are not God, right? But do we, let's get Psalms 82 and let's get verse 6. Let's get there right quick. Let's get the words of the Lord. Let's see if we are the supreme God or are we still just lower gods under the supreme God.
Book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6. I have said, ye are gods.
You know what?
Gods.
Right, so the Most High called us gods. How y'all brothers doing? All praise, shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High. See, y'all know y'all Israel.
Yeah.
All praise to the Most High, man.
Y'all from?
I'm from Delaware.
Delaware?
Yeah. Y'all be in New York, fellowship with the brothers up in New York.
Okay.
I ain't putting in work. I like that. What congregation y'all with?
MOTC, Messages of the Covenant.
Okay, bet.
Based out of LA, Long Beach. We be in Pasadena. You know what I'm saying? So you can check us out on YouTube. Our channel's suspended right now.
Hey, that's cool. You put in that work.
If you ain't suspended, you ain't fed nothing.
You ain't putting in the work.
You ain't gonna see nothing for the next couple of weeks.
So wait, let me write this in my notes. Hold on. All praise, yeah.
So who y'all be linking up with?
Well, I only know with my bro. This I know I'm good with your friend, so I'm gonna put him on to the truth, but he was out here rocking out with him. So I mean, shed some light on the brother.
So basically, what we out here teach is that so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true Israelites according to the Bible. And you said you knew that?
Oh, you did? Okay.
So you heard it before?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how to prove it.
Like how to prove it?
Yeah. Like how do we know that we are the true Israelites?
Well, I know everybody came from Africa and came to Chile when everything broke up. Everybody started off black, and then when everybody started migrating different places when the world broke apart. That's what they say. That's when people started, with implementations and adaptation to the whole world. I'm a science guy. You know what I'm saying? So like that's we kind of how I know we all started as black.
Okay, yeah. Let's get that Galatians 4:26.
We all started as one. We all started in Africa. Everybody started migrating. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, of course, broke apart. I read in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Jesus, brown skin, copper hair, wool. I'm saying he ain't white, you know what I mean? It ain't what we see on the dome, you know what I'm saying? Like Jesus, this ain't what we see. He ain't blonde hair, blue eye, white. That's what Jesus, I know that, you know what I'm saying? I know. I know, man.
That's right. Well, we're going to get this right quick. Bring this up, right?
The book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Which is what?
The mother of us all.
So Jerusalem is the motherland. You know what I'm saying? Now, Jerusalem is in the north part of Africa. You know what I'm saying? But even then, Africa had its name changed in the Punic Wars by a man named Leosippus Africanus, a white man that conquered Hannibal during 202 BC. He changed the name of Africa from Zebulon to Africa. And that's how you got that term Africa. You know what I'm saying? So, named after a white man. But nonetheless,
all things have changed in the year of Constantinople too. All that stuff has changed. The image of the white man.
Absolutely. So, but now we know we are the Israelites through the curses that God put upon his people. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And this is how we know, man. Because God said these things were going to happen to our ancestors. Slave ships, picking cotton, being boiled alive. You know what I'm saying? Scattering, the diaspora, auction blocks. You know what I'm saying? Being lynched, sold, and owned. You know what I'm saying? Burned on the stake, women raped, sold amongst your enemies. All of that stuff is found in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So let's get there. Deuteronomy 28:15.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So now this is Moses talking to the Israelites after having delivered them out of slavery in Egypt. You heard about that story, right? Moses delivered the people, let my people go. They dwell in the wilderness for 40 years. So now during that time, Moses is teaching the Israelites the laws of the Most High God. He tells them, look, the Most High gives them stipulations. If you keep my commandments, you're going to be blessed. You're going to be above all nations. Everybody going to be subject unto you. Yeah, but they didn't, right?
Then when he went up to pray, came back down, everybody was
They was
hooting and hollering.
Right.
Don't worry, man. I'll be reading it, man. I'll be reading.
That's right.
Just don't people.
Yeah. So he said, on the flip side, if you don't, it's going to be curses that's going to be brought down upon you. So we're going to get them through curses, and through process of elimination, we're going to see if we the real Jews or the people living in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Verse 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Right. No different than wherever major city you go to. You from Virginia. Who lives in the worst area? What people? Without a doubt. It's always us, right?
Always us.
Blacks and Latinos, no matter where you go, Chicago, you go to Denver, you go to Oklahoma City, you know what I'm saying? You go to Oakland. Wherever you go, you're going to see blacks and Latinos living in the worst parts, right? Go ahead.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
You got the field, huh? We said we was going to be cursed in the field.
Cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Yeah. And who was picking cotton? We know we was. In the vineyards. Even to this day, I always bring this out. In Louisiana prisons, they make them pick cotton as a punishment of their crime, huh? Even to this day. You know what I'm saying? So they still got us doing it, picking cotton, working in the fields. You know what I'm saying? It said, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Talking about our businesses. You know what I'm saying? Even if you might see a black or Latino person with their own businesses and they entrepreneurial, you know what I'm saying, aspect or whatever, it's not to the degree that we see amongst other nations. Like I could go to a Caucasian neighborhood and I'm not gonna see black businesses over there. But all these nations got businesses in our communities when you go to our, our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Bible says, curse is your business in your store. Drop down to verse 30.
Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
What you think that's going into? Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Betroth means be engaged, promised to. So did the slave master used to be able to come in and sleep with our women at any point in time?
All the time.
You see movies like Roots, Django, 12 Years a Slave, Antebellum. Anytime they wanted to, they came in and just laid with the woman, send it back to the field, or whatever she was doing prior. You know, go ahead.
Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Right, we built up America to what it is, man. The White House was created off of a black man's mind and black people's hands. But we don't dwell in these nice areas, man. We don't dwell in Palos Verdes. You know what I'm saying? In all of these areas and nice communities that we see, right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof.
Our so-called Latino brothers and sisters, they working in the fields for the lowest of wages, man. And not reaping none of the benefits that comes with working in the fields. You know what I'm saying? Because that's big business. You know, coming up with the bringing out the apples, the grapes, and all that, everything that's within the vineyards that we see in these grocery stores today. But they not reaping the benefits from those things, man. That's going straight to their oppressors, to the enemies, right? Drop down to verse 48. Or you had something else?
I'm going to keep verse 32.
Go ahead.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Right, so what's that? We know that happened in slavery. Even to this day, CPS, they come take your children at any point in time. There was some viral videos recently of a black couple that got their children taken away from them. You know what I'm saying? And we seeing that at the border right now with the so-called Latino children. And their families being separated and divided. You know what I'm saying? So that's a curse. You know, they used to send the boy to Virginia, send the daughter to Mississippi, send the father to Georgia. They conquer and divide. Divide and conquer, right? Drop down to verse 48 now.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
Right, so anytime we want something to eat, we go into these places right here that's owned by our enemies. I bet you not. It's owned by our enemies. You want something to eat, go to your enemy. You want some clothing, you shopping at night, H&M, Forever 21. You want some water, do you own Crystal Geyser, brother? I don't own Core Water, you know what I'm saying, Smart Water. I don't, we don't own none of these things. I think the only one that owns some actual is like Jaden Smith, you know what I'm saying, Will Smith's son, but he kind of wealthy, but outside of that, we don't own nothing that we can get from our own people. You know what I'm saying? So keep going on that one.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
You can't leave the country unless you pay your taxes, man. You can't move up out of here. You locked down, man. It said in want of all things. Anything you want, look, you got to go to your enemies for it. Anything. It don't matter. You want to drive your own car? Go to your enemy for it, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what it is. Keep going.
and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
It's an artist's depiction of it, but we know there's real images of us with iron chains around our necks. I think, yeah, these is real images of us being lynched and tied and ropes around our neck. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, we know we had iron chains around our neck. We can get some Google images real fast and see that, right? Drop down the first,
let me finish that.
Go ahead.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Right, and it's not always a physical destruction, because just like you would train up a dog, you got the leash on the dog until the dog get it to be obedient, and that's how our people are right now. They took the chains off. Oh yeah, we got these niggas now. They're Americanized. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the Stephen A's of the world now. You know what I'm saying? Conan, shucking and jiving. You know, Lamont Hill. You know, Candace Owens. That's what they was pushing. You know, and they got our people now. A lot of our people they have that mentality. So it's not just a physical destruction, but a mental one as well. Drop down to verse 64.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
Right, did that happen to these people? You see the depiction of the scattering, did that happen to them? Were they scattered amongst all people from one end of the earth into the other? Never, huh? Did Chinese people get scattered? That ain't happened to nobody else outside of so-called blacks and Latinos, man. You know what I'm saying? So we know that through the curses that God told Moses that he was going to put on the Israelites, we know we are the blood descendants of these people. Right? Keep going. Drop down to verse 68. Actually.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
Right. God said he was going to bring the Israelites back into Egypt again with ships. So now when you look geographically, Egypt and Israel is connected. The Israelites walked out of Egypt into the wilderness and then into the promised land, which was Israel. So you don't need a ship to get from Israel to Egypt. So when you look up the word Egypt, it goes back to the Greek word Egyptos, which means oppression, bondage, captivity. Also to the Hebrew word matazarium, which means the same thing, captivity. So when he's saying, I'm gonna bring you into Egypt again with ships, he's saying, I'm gonna bring you into slavery again with ships. See what I'm saying? And then what you see on the back of the dollar bill, you see the pyramid, you see the all-seeing eye. America is a spiritual Egypt. Hold that, give me Revelation 11 and verse 8 right there. America's a spiritual Egypt and a spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Bible talks about it. Right.
Book of Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right, and who's the dead bodies? The Israelites. Our dead bodies have been lying over here before the Most High put a spirit upon us to start waking up and becoming consciously aware. During the time of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of those men during that time, the Most High began to put a spirit upon our people. But our dead bodies was lying in the streets of the city, which is spiritually called Sodom, for the homosexuality that we see presently through the earth, who you see plastered on the TV screens, on the red carpet events, you know what I'm saying, everywhere, Lil Nas X. That's who they want our people to be like. So this is that spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. And then it said Egypt. Why? For the hard bondage and oppression wherein our people was made to serve over. You know what I'm saying? So this is spiritual, and it's not without coincidence. America puts these things intentionally, you know, on plaster. That's why you see a lot of celebrities. If you look it up, they always do like picture symbols with that, just the seeing eye. All of that stuff comes from ancient Egypt, man. And they know that who they have in possession. Matter of fact, let me get this right quick. This is something that, you know, if y'all like archaeology, if y'all like archaeology, go back to the Deuteronomy 28 right quick. This right here, there was an Egyptologist by the name of Morton. He did cranial studies.
I've actually heard of that name before.
Okay, yeah, he did cranial studies upon the heads of the ancient Egyptian mummies and compared it to the heads of the so-called Negroes over here in America. And he said, we're gonna read it right quick, as a matter of fact. So let me get to that part.
They made a comparative, they was the same, right?
Say it again?
He made a comparative comparison that they were the same, right?
Yeah, he were trying. Well, he made it. He said it was a vast difference.
Oh, okay.
Between the Egyptians.
Joseph was already there, right?
Joseph was there, and the Israelites did come over. So yeah, I mean, but he was, because it's a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. Back in Exodus 11 and verse 7, God said He put a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell the difference between our people. The modern day Egyptians would be the Watusi people and the Sudanese people. When you look at the elongated heads that they have and the long because the women over there average 6 feet. I think she might be a little taller. The men, I think, is like 6'6". You know what I'm saying? Those are your modern day Egyptians.
That's my people. Yeah. I got a short gene, bro. Yeah. Shit. My grandfather, my grandma was on, my mama, he was like 6'6", 6'7", and big.
Yeah, come different nations.
Yeah. Well, over the time, even then, our people was bigger too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So bring that out, finish 68 right quick.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right, because God promised the Israelites, look, if you keep my commandments, you're not going to see Egypt or slavery ever again. But what? We know they broke it, right? Go ahead.
And there he shall be sold unto your enemies.
To your homies?
To your enemies.
To your friends.
Your enemies.
God called these people our enemies, man. There's no way around it. You can't, think you got a buddy because he gave you a pack of smokes back 10 years ago. These your enemies. Every single last one of them, right? Go ahead.
For bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
That word buy is going into redeem. Nobody shall redeem you. We've had plenty of people try, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, but they couldn't redeem us out of this oppression because only God is going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So bring this out right quick, start at the black image. He quotes from a book called The Black Image in the White Mind. You can put it in the sideways so you can see it better.
Yeah. The Black Image in the White Mind, page 74 to 75. In the 1840s, Morton collaborated with George R. Glidden, an Egyptologist who provided him with mummy heads and information about the racial significance of Egyptian tomb inscriptions. Published in 1844, Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence show that the Egyptians were not Negroes. In 1840, Dr. Norton was trying to find out the racial origin of the so-called Negro, Black American that was in America as enslaved. So he got together with Egyptologists, which supplied him with the mummy heads he needed. And what he did was conducted extensive research on the cranial remains, the heads in Egypt, and saw the contrast to the cranial remains to the heads in America, and found out that the Negro in slavery was not African. He found out that the skulls were two totally different skulls. The Negro heads were longer than the Egyptian's head. The physical characteristics from the outside look similar with the thick lips and the broad noses, but once you start delving into the real characteristics, they find out that that was two totally different people.
So we see even Egyptologists, they know, and scholars know it as well. They put it in this book, but they're not gonna put it, they're not gonna plaster it on the news and stuff and say, they want you to think that you African. They want you to, even though we can't say where we went to. Now, we did migrate to Africa from Jerusalem during 70 AD. You know what I'm saying? And we did live over there in the west sides of Africa for a period of 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? So we did take on some of their characteristics, you know what I'm saying? But by and large, the people that were scattered was Israelites. The majority of people. So, but now you get it in hand. Because even scholars know this, and this is not biased at all. That wasn't biased. This ain't biased. White people said this, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you got ham?
Yeah, I got ham right here. So this is Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Definition of ham. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
Now, it's a lot of dark races in the earth. East Indians is dark. Arab people, you know what I'm saying? Various, the only people that don't really have melanin is so-called white people. You know what I'm saying? But let's see who, because you guys heard of Ham, right? Yeah.
Ham, Noah, Japheth.
Right, good. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? So it says Ham is the progenitor or the forefather of all the dark races. But who?
Not the Negroes.
Say, look, we're going to exclude the Negroes. You're not from Ham. Even though they try to teach us in their Christian theology schools that we came from Ham. But they'll put it in books like this.
That's new, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
You teaching them?
Yeah, they actually, a lot of them teach that.
Yeah.
But we don't come from Ham, right? Go ahead and say, not the Negroes.
But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
Right, East Africans, South Africans. Those are your Canaanites and your Libyans and your what else did it say? The Ethiopians and Egyptians.
Yeah.
So those are the Hamites according to the Bible. Let's get Exodus 11 and verse 7 right here. So we are the Israelites according to the Bible. And we could tell us the difference. The Bible describes how the women of Israel was more lively. Their spirit was more upbeat than the African women, than the Egyptian women, it said. You know what I'm saying? And we see the vast difference, even just on a physical level. I mean, you might have a few of them that was born over there that, you know, can ingratiate themselves with our customs, our traditions, or what we, you know, grow up to be out here, like sports. You know, like basketball, football, but by and large, so-called African-American people, we dominate every day. There was a recent boxing match, actually, of this African brother going in against the so-called African-American brother, saying, I'm not you, we not the same. I'm not.
Wait, Hamite said this?
Yeah, Hamite, straight up and down. And then when it got down to the fight, the Judite, the American Negro knocked his ass out, man. Knocked him out, man. You know what I'm saying? So we know it's a difference. God said that we was going to be stronger than everybody else. That was prophesied. Bring it out, go ahead.
Book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast.
Right, so no other nation of people could speak against God's people, even against our own animals. They couldn't say nothing. Go ahead.
That ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Right, so God put a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites, man. You see what I'm saying? So we know we the true Israelites, by and large, man. You know already, brother, all praises to the Most High.
Isaiah 50:81, man. Y'all doing y'all thing.
All praises to the Most High.
Appreciate y'all.
But hey, man, he put you on game, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey, y'all accept donations or anything?
I mean, not really.
Nah, man, nah.
You know, but Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh man.
Hey, keep putting in that work, man. Y'all all the way in the West Coast. From the East Coast.
Yeah, man.
I'll tell you how
My
y'all
wife
shot,
from
man.
the East Coast, man. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, y'all keep putting in work real bad.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all be safe out here.
Right.
Shalom.
All praises to the Most High. Let's clap it up.
Beautiful. We're going to get a few more.
Yeah. Bringing this truth out to our people.
You know, we had the madness come in just before that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the Most High, he balanced it out.
Calm
Let's
it
get
down.
that.
Calm it
Proverbs
down.
11 and 1 right quick. So all praises to the
Yeah.
Most High.